Hi everyone, on today's road trip we're going to look at something really different. A 1957 Volga. This is a Soviet era car. And I have Dmitry with us. He's going to show us the car. Thank you, Dmitry, for showing us your car. How long have you had the car? How many years have you had the car?
I had the car since 2013.
2013.
Yes.
What are your plans with it? Are you going to just continue to show it?
Just gonna keep showing it, enjoying, and this is the next owner, my son.
How you doing? What is your name? Tim. Tim, are you ready to handle this car when you get it?
Absolutely. I've driven it before, only a handful of times.
Well, there's a lot of history to this car. Dmitry was telling me some of the backstory. So let's get into it. First of all, you've got a one-off model here. Tell us about that real quick.
Well, this was customized to match the big car precisely. It's fully functioning models. It has working lights, working siren, well, the horn. It has full set of tools in the trunk.
Really?
It's detailed to a T, big and heavy, 1/8 scale, weighs about 20 pounds.
Is it metal, plastic?
It is metal. It is
Totally
majority
metal?
of it is metal.
Wow. I got to be honest with you. Look at that. The plate on front matches.
Yes, and it matches the original plates on the car. It has a pack of cigarettes and a Russian newspaper inside.
I'm
and
looking
the same
at
book.
the speedometer.
Yep.
Wow. I'm telling you, you're not going to find another model like this. Look at the label there. Well, let's get into the car.
Sure.
What are we looking at here?
Well, it's a 1957 Volga,
Okay.
Model 21, M21V, Series 1. There were 3 series of these cars, and Series 1 is the earliest and the most rare of them all. They only had it 57 and 58. And
It looks a little bit like a Ford in the front, or maybe a little Kaiser. Sort of.
good point. Henry J. The front clip looks very close.
Yeah.
Willis Arrow, shoebox Ford.
Yes.
Yes, and the deer is on the crest of the city where the factory is.
This looks like a Plymouth, an older Plymouth logo.
Well, yep, it's a
ornament.
deer. Don't confuse
deer.
it with antelope or
Yeah.
impala or something.
It's a deer.
Yes.
I see the big star on the grill there.
The grill was changed after 58 because they start exporting these cars, and the people in Europe did not want to buy anything with the big star on it. They were, fresh after the war. So Russian tanks marching in, they didn't want that.
They want to get away from that.
So that's why on Series 2 car, the grill was changed to a more conventional setup.
Okay, here's a board on some of the different series. 1, 2, and 3, were they?
1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
And you can see a lot of detailed information on the website, Volga21.com.
If you're into Volgas, you're interested in this car, go to that website. It'll tell you everything about this particular car. You've also got, I see, the tools that came with it.
Full set of tools came with the car because you needed to fix the car on the road by yourself. It breaks down. There was no AAA to call. And Jay Leno, of course, has a Volga in his collection, but his car is a 3 Series 66. So this car is the only Series 1 Volga on the road in America.
Wow. It's pretty rare. I like the way the turn signals are incorporated into this chrome strip here on the corner.
Yep.
Kind of blends in nice.
Well, the design has a lot of Detroit styling in it.
Yeah.
But back then it was impossible to make a good-looking car without it resembling something out of Detroit. So it does have certain American styling to it, but it's not a copy of anything. None parts are interchangeable.
This says what?
It says Volga.
Volga.
Yes. In Cyrillic.
Yeah, I was going to say, that looks like a B.
Yeah, but in Russian it's V.
So everything, all the markings are in Russian here?
Yes. And if you look inside, you will see that all the instruments are also, of course, labeled in Russian. Yes. Here.
Can I sit?
And there? Of course.
Okay. I don't usually sit in cars, but I got permission.
You did.
Look at the labels on everything here. It's all in Russian. Yes. Even the gauges.
And again, a deer. And again, a deer. And this deer was handmade, put in the car by hand. Only 7 cars in the world remain with that deer on the instrument cluster. This is one of them.
And I noticed we had talked about the speedometer. It's very similar to the 55, 56 T-Birds.
T-Birds Astrodial, they called it on the Ford, but in the Ford they had the light inside. Here the government decided to save a penny, so it does not have a light. So at night it's impossible to see your speed. But then again, you're not going to break any speed records. The car is heavy. It's about 3,000 pounds, 75 horsepower engine, 2.4. But it gets us going to where we need to go.
I see the Russian script here.
Yes, on the radio.
Yeah.
Long waves and short waves. And the radio works, and it even picks up AM stations.
And you've got a clock.
You got a clock, which was rare. The clock is electrical.
Okay.
Also, the red hands on the clock, also for the very early production. After that, they changed the color.
Okay.
Has a cigarette lighter, has the interior lights. So these are all the luxury items.
What is this emblem here, this badge?
This badge is one of the prizes that the car won in Russia, first place.
Okay, so that's a good thing.
Yep.
It's a nice thing to have.
So before bringing it over here, we took it to a couple of shows in Russia. And then the car was driven to Finland, and then from Finland,
about taking care of business.
This is the body number?
That's the body number, yes.
Welcome to the new Hope Auto
Let's take a quick look at the back seat if we could.
Sure.
Great day. The weather really
Have some books here.
for us. So
Okay.
This is the Bible for these cars,
So, Andrew, tell me,
signed to me
what's cool?
by the author.
All sorts of wonderful.
And among here, interestingly, it has all the color combinations.
Really? That you could have gotten?
And this is that car.
Okay.
But the two-tone paint was 200 rubles extra, which made no sense for anybody. So growing up in Russia, I never saw a two-tone car. Nobody wanted it.
Tell us about the seat. You were showing me how it folds down. What's the
Yes,
scoop on that?
absolutely. So this car opened the way for Soviet people to travel. It's the first car with a completely flat fold-out seat. So the seat will slide forward, then you open the screw up, and this whole seat back comes down, and it rests on these legs on the floor, and three people can sleep in it like sardines in a
Kind
can.
of like an old Nash. And it's just one giant mattress at that point, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. But it's nice and cushy.
Yeah, that it is. The materials, the coloring, this is all as it would have been
Yes,
original?
absolutely correct. If you take a look at
The headliner?
the headliner, you see that's kind of a felt material,
Okay.
kind of.
I notice you have a courtesy light, a dome light, and you also have courtesy lights
Yes,
on the B pillar here.
yes. It's a little features that this car has.
Not on the driver's side, but on the
No.
passenger side.
No, they cut corners where they could.
Yeah.
And of
Demetrius
course
has
in
his
the trunk.
battery undone, so.
So we have the spare tire, never was mounted, still has Soviet air in it.
Okay. Soviet air, that's good to know.
Yeah, if I feel nostalgic, I can
There
always
you
take
go,
a whiff.
take a huff of that,
Yep.
a puff of that.
This is a copy of the packing list with all the tools that came with the car, and you saw the tools.
Yeah.
This is a copy of the receipt when you purchased the car. There is a price on it. And interestingly enough, this is a separate passport for the radio, because
us
the
about
radio does not belong to you. Even if you bought it with the car, in case there is a war, you need to dismantle it and surrender it to the government. And the government had a copy of this passport, said they knew that you have this radio.
So that if a war broke out, they wanted your radio,
They
I
wanted
guess,
your
so
radio.
for propaganda purposes?
So you will not listen to propaganda, and you will not communicate with the spies.
Wow. How crazy is that? That's the mindset back then.
Yes, Cold War times.
Cold War times.
You also need to remember that this car was built in a very brief period when Soviet Union was actually ahead of America in the space race.
Yes.
Sputnik,
Yes.
1957.
Wow. And this is a Soviet plate?
Yes, this is the plate correct to this car. This is a Moscow region plate. And again, interesting fact, the car spent its entire life 30 kilometers from my hometown. And I didn't know that until I bought the car.
You're out of Brooklyn, New York.
I'm out of Brooklyn, New York now, but before, when I lived in Soviet Union, I lived 30 miles away from this car, and I
Okay.
did not know that.
Got it, got it.
So we bought the car from the son of the original owner. It's one family car.
Well, let's go around the other side if we could.
Sure.
I like the tail lights
Yes,
and this little chrome strip
little
here.
chrome strips. Now, it has additional chrome because it's an export model. So
Okay.
two-tone paint and this extra chrome was added for export. And it's quite obvious. I mean, you put it in line with Cadillacs, and the car will just get lost
Yeah.
among those fins.
Well, they
and
want to
chrome.
dress it up in some way.
They want to dress it up a little bit, not too much.
Yeah. What do we got in the back? Just some period pieces?
Well, this is the manual for the car.
Okay.
This is the medicine kit, the first aid kit. And as you can see, the picture of the car is on that kit.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. What's
Yes.
that all about?
Well, that's an accessory, but I wanted to find the one which has the picture of the car. And this over here is
So
an
that
interesting
was
item.
available to car owners?
Oh, you had to buy it.
Medical kit?
Yep. Now, this is the map of all the roads in Soviet Union, but
Okay.
nothing is up to scale. Because, again, in case of the war, if the enemy gets one of this, he will get lost. So, I mean, it kind of gives you the direction, but these distances, these curves, they're not correct.
Okay.
And all the maps in Soviet Union were like this. They were a little distorted.
Yeah, just to throw, the enemy off, so to speak, or
Yep.
what they viewed was the enemy.
Yep.
You got the gas cap door here.
Oh, yeah.
Very nice.
And we can open the hood and take a
Yeah,
look
let's
over
take a
there.
look at the engine bay. Oh, what are we looking at, Demetrius?
So, because, like I said, it's a very early production car, it has some features which are unique. For instance, the hood release is on the wrong side, it's on the right side. Later, they moved it to the driver's side.
Gotcha.
It does have the wipers, but it does not have the washers. Why? Later on, they added. The 12-volt battery with a Bakelite cover, but the polarity is reversed. The plus is on the body. Again, they reversed it later.
Okay.
So it has a lot of these little quirky things which does not make a lot of sense.
And these are all early Series 1 oddities.
Yes, all these oddities, they were worked out within first few months of production.
That thing hanging down, what is that now?
That's the work light under the hood. You activate it by twisting it like this, and the
Okay.
little bulb comes on. Also, it has this light, which has a special receptacle. Does not go into cigarette lighter. There is a plug for it under the
Okay.
dash.
Okay, that's different. Tell us about these vents here.
Yeah, so the louvers here,
Louvers.
factory installed, all the cars had it. Cold Russian winters, you would never be able to warm it up to the temperature. So for that, you have the louvers. There is a handle, you pull it, you close it, and the car gets
So it's
warmer.
manually operated from the driver's seat?
Yes, absolutely.
This, I guess, is the cable.
Yep. Now, 3 of these labels, they deal with you draining the water because there was no antifreeze available to people.
Yes.
So all these cars, they were running on water. And judges here?
I'll go for it.
All right. So imagine cold Russian winter, minus 25 degrees Celsius. You grab 2 buckets of hot water and you run to your car. And you start pouring hot water into the car until it gets slightly warm. Then you close off 2 petcock valves. And then you can fill it up and then you can start it. So it takes about an hour just to run with water
You
to
gotta
start
know
it
what you're
in the
doing.
morning.
I
Here,
think you're about to win an award, Demetrius.
I hope so too.
Why don't we stop for a second? There we go.
It's one of the most cutting edge.
There you are, sir.
Oh, thank you.
Congratulations.
Second place.
That's right.
And the senior award. Fantastic too.
And you can wait and you can go in the victory lane parade.
We'll be delighted.
Should be within the hour.
Custom ordered
within
and sent
45
delivered to Japan.
Very good. Thank you so much.
And then
Usually, once we give
Congratulations,
So,
Demetrius.
thank you.
Beautiful. Well earned. Look at that. We're at the New Hope Auto Show in New Hope, Pennsylvania. It's a fantastic show. If you ever get the chance to come out here, you definitely want to stop by the show.
Yeah, the show is one
It
of
is
the
a
best
great,
on the
great.
East
They
Coast.
bring out
Yes.
all kinds of stuff, as you can see by this vehicle. So what else we got here?
So, like I said, that oiler can
Yeah.
came with the car, but it was very difficult to find. Almost as difficult as to find the car itself because people get it with the car, throw it in the garage, forget about it for 70 years. So we spent some time looking for that oiler can.
And that's kind of, I guess, a one-off oil can. It looks kind of generic, but it's not, is it?
It's specific to this car because there is a holder for it.
Oh, that fits in the holder. Gotcha.
It's not an accessory. It came with the car.
Okay.
Now, here, what you have, you see this handle?
I do.
That's the dual oil filtration system because the quality of oil was very poor.
Gotcha.
So, first, it goes from the engine into this item here, and then when I jiggle this handle like this,
Yes.
inside there are friction discs, and they rub against each other, cleaning itself.
Okay.
So this is how you clean them, and the oil gets pumped through it into this canister. So that's a fine
Into this
filtration,
canister right here.
and that's crude filtration.
What you were explaining to me about this system, this oiling system over here?
Right. So
This
this
is
is probably the most unique feature to this car. Central chassis lubrication system was only installed in these cars for about 7 months. After that, it was discontinued because it has oil in the cylinder, and then it has a plunger which goes through the firewall with a little pedal. Every 1,000 kilometers, I'm supposed to start pumping it until the oil gets pushed through this copper tubing to chassis and steering. So your tie rods, your kingpins, everything gets lubricated. And you need to push it, to push the oil out until it starts dripping on the ground. So people start complaining that these cars, they leave puddles of oil everywhere, and the government listens to people. So they made the order to the factory to discontinue the system, and it was gone.
So is that an early Series 1 system that
Very
was
early
discontinued?
series, only first 7 months of production had this.
What did they go to after that? A closed system first?
They installed regular grease fittings.
Okay.
Whenever it needs to
So
be
you
lubricated,
manually hit the fittings from time to time?
you would need to put the car on the lift, get the grease gun, go underneath, and lubricate everything.
That's
so,
how
of
everybody
course,
did
this
it.
is superior, but because it has no rubber joints, everything leaks out.
Gotcha. Well, I got to be honest with you, Dimitri. It took me several times to catch you. It's later in the afternoon. I was by this car about 4 or 5 times already. Demetrius was out and about, shaking hands and kissing babies, and it took me a long time
Mostly
to catch.
looking at cars.
Okay, we'll go with that. But it took me a while to catch up with him, and I'm glad I caught up with you. So, folks, tell me what you think. This is let me get it right now, a 1957 Volga. It's a Soviet-era car. It's the only one like it in the States. One left.
The only one on the road in America.
Left.
Yes.
Tell me what you think.
Excellent,
Leave your
Dominic.
comments
Just
below.
another story.
Definitely
Every one of
subscribe to
these
the channel, and we'll catch you on the next
has an
one.
amazing
Thank you,
story.
Demetrius.
It's great to be able to hear some of that.